Question number 14. F of x is x squared minus 18x with domain x is less than or equal to 9. And so there are a couple of things to do here. So the first is to find a formula for f inverse. Now the thing to realize here is that in general, like f of x is x squared minus 18x. It's a parabola. It looks something like this here. And so f of x is not a one-to-one function, except that we have this domain x is less than or equal to 9. And so it is going to be one-to-one on its domain here. So we're ignoring this part of it. So we can find an inverse function here. So how do we do this? Well, we're writing y is equal to x squared minus 18x. What we want to do is interchange the roles of x and y and solve for y in terms of x. So interchange gives us x is equal to y squared minus 18y. Moving everything to one side, we have zeros equal to y squared minus 18y minus x, and we're going to apply the quadratic formula here. So what is going to be y? Y is going to equal negative b. B here is negative 18, so 18 plus or minus the square root of b squared, negative 18 squared, minus 4ac, and that the 4 times negative x, all is divided by 2. So y is 18 plus or minus the square root of 18 squared is 324 plus 4x divided by 2. If we divide everything upstairs by 2, we get 9 plus or minus the square root of, let's see, 324 squared divided by, 324 divided by 4, 81 plus x. So it looks like the answer that we came up with is y is equal to 9 plus or minus square root 81 plus x. This is not a good inverse function formula because for a given value of x, for a given value x, we get two outputs. If x is, 1, we get y plus square root of 82, and we get y minus the square root of 22. How do we patch this up? We patch this up by remembering to think about the domain here. The domain is x is less than or equal to 9. So the domain of f is x is less than or equal to 9. So domain of f equals the range of f inverse. So we want things that are less than or equal to 9 here. So the square root of 81 plus x is never going to be negative. It's either going to be 0. I should say here that it's always going to be positive. It's always going to be positive here. And so we want the negative root here. So what is our choice here? Y is f inverse of x is 9 minus the square root of 81 plus x. And so then what is going to be, so we know the domain of f, the range of f inverse here. What is, so for part B, the domain of f inverse slash the range of f. So what numbers can we plug in here? We can plug in any number x as long as the square root needs to be, thing under the square root needs to be at least 0. So x needs to be at least negative 81. So interval notation, this is going to be negative 81 comma, infinity. Okay, so that's problem 14. So remember to be careful with square roots and choosing the root carefully. You don't just always pick the positive square root. For problem 15 here, so we have this given triangle here, and we are told that theta is defined to be the arc sine of 7x, which means here that sine theta is equal to 7x. From this picture, what is sine theta in terms of, how does sine theta relate to a, b, and the 1 here? Sine theta is the length of the opposite side divided by the length of the hypotenuse. So this is going to be a over 1. So from this very first get-go, we can see here, part A is asking us for a and b in terms of x. A, we instantly can see a is equal to 7x. To come up with b, we're going to use the Pythagorean Theorem here that says that a squared plus b squared needs to equal 1. A squared is 7x, quantity squared is 49x squared, plus b squared is equal to 1. B squared is equal to 1 minus 49x squared. And so b is the square root of this. We choose the positive square root because we want b to be a positive length. B is a length, so it needs to be positive. Okay, so that's part A. For part B, we're being asked about the area of the triangle as a function of x. So the area is going to be 1/2 times a times b. 1/2 times 7x times the square root of 1 minus 49x squared. And that's all we have to do. And then finally, we are asked for sine of 2 theta. So sine of 2 theta, remember sine of 2 theta is going to equal 2 sine theta cosine theta. From the chart here, sine theta is 7x. Cosine theta is going to be b divided by 1. And b here we already figure out was the square root, 1 minus 49x squared. So this is our formula for sine of 2 theta. So it's helpful to know this trig identity, and being able to manipulate these triangles is a very important skill in calculus.